Thank you, Chairman Smith, for providing the opportunity to consider legislation that's been very important to me since coming to Congress in 2017, H.R. 9461, the USA Workforce Investment Act. The purpose of the bill before us today is to expand apprenticeship, work-based learning, and upscaling opportunities for our current and future workforce. My view is for too long, federal policy has favored traditional higher education, and I'd never discourage any student from pursuing a four-year degree, but I want to be sure that we rebalance that and we ensure that youth know they can pursue career and technical pathways to a great career as well. The imbalance that we see has led to a predictable skills gap. According to the Work Economic Forum's 2023 Future of Jobs report, 44% of individual workers' skills will need to be updated to keep up with the fast-shifting business landscape in the coming years. A study titled Skilled Trades Labor Scarcity found that almost half of existing skilled trade workers are over the age of 55, meaning that we'll face a retirement cliff that will make the skills gap far worse. I hear every day, as I think every member of this committee does, from employers that the current challenges they face finding qualified talent to fill open jobs are inhibiting their ability to grow. That's also costing the U.S. economy, by the way. A RAND study on the digital skills gap found that 14 G20 countries could miss out on $11.5 trillion in cumulative GDP growth due to the widening technological skills gap. Another report titled The Lost Workforce, Upskilling for the Future calculated that the talent shortage and skills gap in the U.S. alone is expected to total a loss of $8.5 trillion by 2030. The federal government spends more than $100 billion annually on traditional higher education, but only a quarter of that on career and technical training. To make matters worse, the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, what we refer to as WIOA, which governs all federal workforce programs, has received minimal funding increases in recent years. We are missing out on an opportunity to grow our economy and grow our workforce by not investing in skills development. The best way to accomplish this goal is to expand available training options and career pathways for Americans. The USA Workforce Investment Act will help close the skills gap by doing just that. By expanding opportunities for work-based learning through tax incentives for supporting programs, we'll give individuals, many of whom are local business owners, skin in the game to invest in the future of their community. The pilot program enacted under this bill will provide taxpayers a credit for donations, contributions to qualified workforce development programs and training organizations. This includes occupational skills training, on-the-job training, skills upgrading and retraining, entrepreneurial training, and adult education and literacy activities. The goal of this bill is to drive towards more balance between the federal support we provide to traditional higher education and the federal support we give to work-based learning programs. I've heard a few criticisms raised that this would allow dollars to flow to, quote, subpar programs. And I want to take just a few minutes to address those concerns. Eligible programs under this legislation that an individual could donate to and receive the tax credit are, one, tax-exempt organizations, 501c3s, and two, that are recognized as eligible training providers under the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. To become an eligible training provider, you must be approved by your state governor and workforce development boards who tailor these lists based on their state's in-demand sectors. Eligible providers for WIO include institutions of higher education that run programs which lead to recognized post-secondary credentials or industry-recognized credentials, those under the National Apprenticeship Act, for instance, registered union apprenticeships, and other public-private training programs which include joint labor management organizations. Qualified programs must meet very high standards to stay on these lists. For example, they must provide information on the percentage of program participants who enter unsubsidized employment in an occupation related to the program, and that data must be reported through the fourth quarter after exiting the program to ensure that they stay employed in their field. They must also provide information on completion rates, costs of attendance, median earnings, measurable skills gained, and the effectiveness of serving employers, and more. These are just a few of the federal requirements. State and localities can then layer on that as they see fit. If you're calling the types of programs these credits could support subpar, then you're saying all WIOA programs are low quality. We must ensure our education system is preparing the next generation of high-skilled workers to succeed in a 21st century economy across industry sectors, including manufacturing, information technology, healthcare, construction, hospitality, and more. I urge my colleagues to support this common sense proposal that will help close the skills gap and grow our national workforce competitiveness. With that, I'd like to enter into the record several letters of support, as well as some of the workforce training provider studies that I mentioned earlier.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd also like to submit to the record the actual statute outlining the criteria and requirements for the eligible training provider list under WIOA.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With that, I yield back.